Yeah, welcome once again to Niger Super Fans Forum. This is where we discuss everything concerning African football. So sorry that we've not been around for a few weeks now, but of course we are back and better. My name remains Ashalula Femi, and today on the show it's a loaded house and as well as a loaded edition for you. Of course, Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, the draws for the qualifiers of the 2026 FIFA World Cup took place right there, and of course Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon. Now they know their group opponents, six teams in 9 groups, and of course the table toppers will have automatic qualification to the tournament. So quickly, let's welcome Kayode Gundari and James Agbebi to the show. Guys, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so let's get started. Of course, talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria in Group C, and the attention now is on the Bafana, and of course, Benin Republic. And why it is interesting is that those two teams, of course, Bafana Bafana, meant to say, have been they've been so to say an enemy to the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and Benin Republic, who are now known as the Cheetahs, no longer the Squirrels. Genotro is the coach, and the fear is it is time for him to take his pound of flesh. Kyle, let's get started with that. South Africa, Benin Republic, Lesotho, Zimbabwe, and of Rwanda. But Bafana and Benin Republic are the two teams the attention is right now for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yeah, quite very, very interesting draw. Like you said, Bafana, in the last few years, they've come up strong in Africa. I hope they're able to, if they're able to overcome their psychological mindset against Nigeria, because even before games, they tend to have lost games to Nigeria, and that usually plays out on the pitch. And then Benin Republic, through Genotro, have a score to settle with us. But yeah, I will also look at Rwanda. Because in the last few years, Rwanda, this league has grown. We've seen a couple of players go there to play. The latest being Victor Mbauma, who just signed for a club in
top scorer in the MPFL.
Yes, he has signed there. There's a little bit of money in their league, so they can afford to attract some of Africa's best players. And they are a team to also watch out for at the national level. So I would not concentrate on South Africa and Benin Republic alone. I would also be wary of the Rwandese.
Okay, James, previously or before now, in the 90s and even early 2000s, you would say that this group is as done as settled. But now, we can't talk about that anymore. South Africa, the last time they were at the World Cup was 2010 when they hosted. And of course, you remember 2021 AFCON, they were not there. 2024 AFCON, now they've qualified. Hugo Bruce will want to be the new hero, by qualifying the country for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. What do you think, James?
Well, for me, I think everything boils down to how prepared the Super Eagles will be, how the NFF, if we're not going to see the usual rubbish that we normally see from them, if they were able to put their house in order. Because one thing about this current Super Eagles team is compared to the old one, just like what you said, on paper you say, okay, they should qualify, but with the way things have been going, if countries like Central African Republic can beat Super Eagles here, if Guinea-Bissau can beat Super Eagles here, so which means you don't even know the kind of Super Eagles that we turn up. So everything rests in their hands. We have most of them, they've never been to the World Cup. This is a good opportunity for them to make amends for what happened the last time. So, like I said, on paper, you expect the Super Eagles to qualify, but with the kind of performances we've been seeing of late, you want to have a rethink. The South Africans come away long way back, 2000. I remember 1994 World Cup qualifiers, stopped them from qualifying. We've been with for 2006 World Cup qualifiers. Rwanda too was in the group, And one aspect again that people should look out for again is it's possible that Lesotho and Zimbabwe, they might play their home games in South Africa. So which means the possibility is not confirmed, but it's possible that South Africa will play these teams right there in South Africa, which means there's a possibility that they will take points from there. It's not confirmed. Because I just read one report on social media So I think everything that boils down to the Super Eagles, they must do the needful. They must hit the ground running. That if they want to put pressure on any other team, because we've seen them there sometimes they can be slow starters, but the most important thing is if they can hit the ground running and make everybody know that they are here for business, I think that Super Eagles will have enough to just even qualify with a lot of games in hand.
Okay, Coyote, I think the ghost will be buried, like they do say in Yoruba, and I think a part of the body was not properly covered. Talking about Genotro, he has a coach called the Coach Tunde, who currently works with him with the Cheetahs of Benin Republic. They both of them were in charge of the Super Eagles for 5 years, 2016 to 2021, before it was stopped from taking the Eagles to the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Coyote, do you think Benin Republic might just be a banana peel? Because in my head right now, I'm playing the game like in Nigeria, yeah, possibly we might beat Benin Republic, but in Port Novo or Cotonou, wherever, they might make it difficult for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Incidentally, I know, see, there's this, we all love the underdog, and the beautiful ending to a story like this would be one where Genotro takes his pound of flesh against Nigeria, because they will say after 5 years with Nigeria, the way he was treated, shabbily shunted aside and everything, then he comes back to take his victory. Some will tell you that, oh, for 5 years, he now knows Nigerian football inside out, so and that it will be easy for him to cage the Nigerians. Whatever the story is and the likely outcome, the odds are still in favor of Nigeria. If, like James said, we hit the ground running, if we start from day one, taking every game seriously. Unfortunately, we do not have the sanctity of our own grounds any longer. The teams have come here in the recent past to beat Nigeria at home, even though we have had our pound of flesh away. But then every point will be very, very important until the ticket is won. I don't want to press the panic button by saying, we may not do it, but then I am not taking anything for granted. If the NFF lives up to his legendary irresponsibility, if the players remain unconcerned and unprofessional by not taking these games seriously, then nothing is sorted out.
Guaranteed.
And anything can happen. I do not think it's a shoo-in that Nigeria will automatically get either the first place ticket or even a playoff spot. So that's the fear I have. Nothing is guaranteed yet until it is done.
Okay, so much on the plate right now for NFL President Bam Gusau. Of course, the Super Falcons are in Australia preparing for the World Cup. The Super Eagles now, today is July 15th or 14th, if I'm not mistaken. We do not even have a coach yet because the future of Jose Pesero is not yet sorted out. So much to talk about regarding the NFL, but like how and Jerry said, we hope that they will put their house in order. Okay, let's take a trip to Ghana now. Let's talk about the Black Stars. They are of course, in Group I. And Mali, Madagascar, Central African Republic again, Comoros, and Chad. And thanks goodness that, of course, Amoa Gyan was part of the people who made that draw in Cote d'Ivoire yesterday. And he said it's not going to be an easy road. But Kyle, they assisted with you before I go to James. Right now, even the GFA, there's fire on the mountain because there has been a petition that has been written to FIFA regarding Dr. Koto Kraku about breaching some FIFA statuses, and FIFA has said that they might likely even open an investigation against him. With the GFA presidential elections just a few months away, so much distraction in that part of football regarding Ghana.
The story is all familiar. Instability in the FA, seriousness, lack of priority, lack of developmental plans that will show seriousness has been the bane of sub-Saharan African football. That's why the huge talents that Nigeria and Ghana and Cameroon have, we always have these problems dogging our footsteps. And as much as some people could tend to think, well, it's a Kotakraku problem, it doesn't have to affect the players. No, it does affect the players. It does affect focus. It does affect stability, because even the players will not know who to deal with. The coaching staff will not know who to deal with, because they may not know who is in charge and who is going to be putted out or whatever, especially in a continent where loyalty to groups and individuals are very, very strong. It could cause a big problem. That's what, and Ghana also have to be very, very wary of Mali and Central African Republic. Those are teams that are potential banana skins for them. I keep saying this. I look around all of the groups, I see people make caustic remarks about, oh, Ghana should qualify, Nigeria should qualify. See, Femi, each qualifying circle throws up unlikely teams that we do not think about, teams that we never gave a thought before. You just see a team win the first game, the second game, and then the momentum is with them. So that's why I fear for the big teams, the so-called big teams like Nigeria and Ghana. We don't know if the so-called big team, the so-called surprise team, is going to be from any of these groups. Because definitely every cycle you see a thing that eventually, ultimately, they may not qualify. They may fall short at the last minute or even make a shock qualification. It happens every cycle. I can begin to name such teams for you from 1978 to the last competition. So my prayer, we have to pray, is that this this surprise team will not come from the Nigerian group or the Ghana group. That's my prayer.
Okay. James, do you have any optimism that the Black Stars from this group, like how they has mentioned, we have a Central African Republic, and of course we have Mali. I think Mali made it to the playoff for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. They made it to the playoff. Yeah. Now, these are potential banana peel for the Black Stars. And I think Chris Sutton, I almost said Autoado, Chris Sutton has something to worry about, because at the moment, the Black Stars have not even qualified for the 2023 or 2024 CAF AFCON. Now, this is something to worry about for him, coupled with the fact that the GFA is even having a lot of problems, a lot of internal issues, a lot of internal enemies. Like, it was a whistleblower who actually wrote FIFA about Krakow, and FIFA said they might likely open an investigation. Is there so much things to worry about for Chris Sutton right now?
Yeah, so many things to worry about. If when we thought after the 2022 World Cup, the Black Stars, they are like on a new path. Then now this, coming up, just like what you said, they've not qualified for the AFCON. They're going to play Central African Republic, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's why I said the Central African Republic again.
So on paper, you say the Black Stars should be able to qualify for the World Cup, but with the GFA, with all the problems they are facing now, will they allow them to concentrate? Will they allow them to focus and have that stability to focus on the qualifiers and do well for themselves? Because it's going to be tough, just like Nigeria, like Ghana. It's going to be tough. You might say, okay, on paper, the Black Stars should qualify because they've been qualifying for World Cup. So they are the only team in that group that have been to the World Cup before, so the experience is there. Fine, you want to say Mali. Mali too. They got to the playoff round and lost to Tunisia, and so the experience is also there, even though they've never qualified for the World Cup. South African Republic, at least they have an idea about this team. So other teams like that.
Great and upset.
Yes, so just like what I said about the Super Eagles, the same thing applies to the Black Stars. Talented players everywhere, but the problem in the FP not come back to hunt these guys. I mean, this is like a new. They've done a new league for themselves. Have a new coach. Will they allow the coaches, the coach, the players to concentrate? That is another thing. Now the FA president has an issue, and if that is not resolved in time, I mean, it might affect the players. The World Cup qualifiers will start in November. It's not too far away, so they need all the competition. They need to start taking points in their first few games so that they're able to put themselves in a good position, because the last time it was they took out Nigeria, it would have gone anywhere. Now this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. That you go to some venues that you will be shocked what will happen. So I think it's very important for whatever issues that they are facing in the FA to be resolved immediately because, I mean, 2026 World Cup, it's not a joke. We are going to have 9 teams from Africa, and it's possible that it's going to be 10 because one team will go for the international playoff,
Against
continental
CONCACAF region,
playoff.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, very important. Just like what I said about Super Eagles, the Black Stars must hit the ground running.
Okay, so quickly, I think it's good we just clarified that, of course, out of the 9 teams, the table toppers will have automatic qualification to the 2020 FIFA World Cup. Then the 4 best teams will be engaged in the playoff. Then the team that comes out top will play a team from the CONCACAF region in the final playoff, so to say, then making it possibly, if they win, it will make it 10 teams from Africa that will qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That will be hosted by the US, Mexico, and Canada. Kayode, let's talk about the GFA still, or the Ghana football. Of course, the technical director of the GFA, I'm talking about Bernard Lippert, has come out to say that the Black Stars are no longer, or Ghana are no longer the powerhouse in African football. Do you agree with that? Because if you take a stock back in the last 16 months, Ghana hasn't done anything really. Because if you look at the under 20, under 16, under 20, under 23, the champ team, they've not really done anything. If not for the Black Stars, who were able to make it to the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Remember how poorly they performed at the 2021 AFCON. Do you think that Ghana are no longer a powerhouse in African football?
Absolutely, I agree. They are not. They are not. And the results, their recent results bear testimony to that. I don't want to keep repeating what you just said, right? We see how things have panned out. Unfortunately, the zoning policy of CAF has made sure that they are locked in a bitter struggle with Nigeria, even at the subcontinental level, at the WAFU level, where either one of them and Cote d'Ivoire would have to qualify from the WAFU Zone B. So that has meant that in the last qualifiers for the under 17 and under 20, Nigeria had shut them out, and in the under 23 that they qualified ahead of Nigeria. They didn't do too well. They didn't do too well at the CHAN competition that they also qualified at the expense of Nigeria. They also didn't do too well. So apart from the Black Stars who went to the last World Cup and had a qualified what do you call it? That had a qualified performance at the World Cup. You could say nothing more to write home about the Black Stars. This is about Ghana football. This is a team that is so used to qualifying for competitions and winning them, especially at the African level. Now they even struggle to qualify. We are not too far off from them, but the fact that that's Nigeria, managed to get into tournaments ahead of them would make should give you a sense of pride against Ghana, given our rivalry. And then we are both teams living in the shadows of our past glories.
Okay, James, Kayode has talked about the problems developing football in the sub-Saharan African region. Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, problems everywhere because the NFF really so much problems to iron out. The GFA, so much problem to solve. Now, even in the FECAFOOT, a few weeks ago, the fourth vice president of the FECAFOOT, that Mr. Samuel Elito, talking about Njala Kwan, he wrote a letter, a very heartfelt letter, because that letter, if you read the content, you would know that he was actually speaking from the bottom of his heart about the decay in the Cameroon football. And he was saying that, Mr. President, all is not well with our football. That was the summary of everything he wrote in that about 2 or 3 page letter. And now, James, an association, so to say, Amateur Clubs Association in Cameroon, they have called for the resignation of Samuel Eto'o. Before on this show, we've talked about maybe giving a chance to former footballers, African football legends, to run the Football Federation. But here, it is looking like it is not running. Is it because we have a system problem? Or when some of these individuals get to these offices, they tend to lose concentration or mismanagement? Because when Eto'o came on board, we were delighted. when Didier Drogba lost his quest to lead Cote d'Ivoire football, we were sad. But now it seems all is not even well. Look at Ivory Drogba's song. All is not really, really well, even with the Indomitable Lions.
I mean, it's. I was surprised when I saw that story that the amateur clubs are calling for his head, which means a lot of things is really going on in the Feca foot. I mean, when Eto'o came on board, we were all happy that he was going to, serve as a good example for other ex-internationals to come in and do something, being that they play the game, so they should know better. But unfortunately, I don't think that's what we are experiencing now. I mean, it goes to show that a lot of things, some things are not really going well with Feca foot. Not only Feca foot, we check other association. So it just shows that it's not about whether you play the game or whether it has nothing to do with that. If you don't have it, you don't have it. So for the club sides to go to that extent, I mean, if the club side could come together and write such and push it forward, I mean, it goes to show that enough is enough. I think they want to see the back of us. It means we don't know the full story. Is what they've been saying, because if you talk to somebody to it, you have something to see, So, but if it has come to this, I mean, it's only going to serve as going to be a very negative impact. It's going to have a very negative impact in all the national teams. It's going to cut across. Remember the problem? Onana had to leave the Indomitable Lions because of issues. Issues here and there. So if all these things are not resolved, I mean, it's going to throw spanner into the work of all the people who are trying to see, give the ex-internationals the chance, give them the chance. They can do it because they play the game. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. If you don't have it upstairs, you don't have it. So for me, I think it's very important that they trash out the issues, because just like what we said about Nigeria FA and the Ghana FA, the FECAFU will also encounter this same problem. You're going to cut across, and it's not going to be very good for them, especially now that the World Cup qualifier just around the corner.
Unfortunately, this is where, of course, we have to end today's edition of Nigeria Super Fans. Of course, so much to talk about regarding the state of football in the sub-Saharan region of Africa, the Nigeria Football Federation, the Ghana Football Federation, of course, the FECA foot. All is not well, but it would be nice if these three powerhouse or football in Africa can just get their ass together. And of course, the 2026 qualifiers are about to begin just in a couple of months. It would be nice if these three countries would be in the US, or whether in Canada or even in Mexico, where the tournament will be taking place. Kaya Dogundari and James Agberebi, thank you guys for coming on the show. Once again, we apologize to our fans around the world for not being able to bring you our recordings over the past day, just trying to get better for you. And of course, we are back now. So this is where we'll be joining the party on today's edition. I remain Ashalulu Afemi. We'll see you all later in the week. Bye for now.